Morant with a running start. Elevate! Oh, it dunks! Oh, my goodness!
Tie game in overtime. Gasol will turn. His heat is gone! Memphis on top. 7-10 remaining.
Conley now with three. Count it! A 15-point lead for Memphis. And Blake Griffin gets into it on the floor with Randolph. Hard to tell if there are any punches being thrown under there, but Griffin took acceptance.
Adams going long. Morant! He hit it! John Morant! Insanity!
You gotta be kidding me.
Welcome to Grits and Grinds, a Memphis Grizzlies podcast. My name is Keith Parrish. The Grizzlies schedule was released along with every other team just a couple of hours ago. There's not a lot to go over, but there are a few things we can take note of. So here you have it, the official Grizzlies schedule release episode. The Grizzlies will start their season, the regular season, at home. This is Wednesday, October 22nd against the New Orleans Pelicans. They play their first 3 games of the season at FedEx Forum. After that Wednesday opener, they have a Friday, Saturday back-to-back against the Heat and the Pacers. A good chance to travel to Memphis if you're a Grizzlies fan who doesn't live in the area. They actually play 8 of their first 11 games at home. A very good opportunity, perhaps, to get off to a strong start. We think maybe they're going to be without Zach Edey and Jaren Jackson Jr. when the season begins. More than likely Zach Edey. We're hopeful Jaren can be available, but they do have a lot of home games early, so hopefully you can stack some wins. They do have a lot of games packed together early in the season. Like you pack 3 games in the first 4 days. They play 6 games in the first 10 days. That isn't that abnormal. I'm just keeping an eye on it because of those injury issues, and we're wondering when Jaren and Zach Edey are going to come back. And, if Zach Edey misses the first 3 weeks, or for some reason Jaren misses the first 3 weeks, that's 13 games. They play 13 times in the first 22 days. They don't get 2 days off after a game. That doesn't happen until mid-November. Also in November, by the way, the November schedule is really brutal. They play the Thunder, Knicks, Celtics, and Cavaliers in 4 consecutive games. 3 of those on the road. What in the world? They have 9 road games. It's essentially all playoff teams, except, there's a few not. Like the Mavericks with Cooper Flagg, the Spurs. You go to San Antonio twice against Wemby in November. So a very difficult November schedule for the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies play 10 national TV games, and these games are spread out on a variety of networks. With the new television deal, we have some new broadcast partners. There's no longer NBA TV games. There are games on Prime. There are games on Peacock. They play on NBC. They play on ESPN/ABC. The 3 Prime games, you have the first NBA Cup matchup, a home game against the Lakers. By the way, that's the only time the Lakers come to town all year. If you're a season ticket holder who usually sells your seats for the Lakers and Warriors games, well, bad news. There's only one of each this year. But the first time you play the Lakers, that's a home game. That's on October 31st, otherwise known as Halloween. Who doesn't want a Halloween game at 8:30 p.m. on a Friday? But that's on Prime Video. It's only going to be on Prime Video. So if you don't subscribe to Prime, you got to find another way to watch. The other 2 Prime games are going to be the NBA Europe games against the Magic. They play on Peacock 3 times. And again, my understanding is those are exclusive games to Peacock. I do not have a subscription to Peacock. If you want to watch the Grizzlies game, you got to find a way to log on. I'm guessing lots of people are going to be signing up for free trials to various streaming services this year. It does not seem ideal for the consumer. To watch every Grizzlies game this year, you're going to need a FanDuel subscription. I don't think anything's changed there. You're going to need a FanDuel subscription or a cable provider that also includes the regional sports network, which I think only DirecTV does at this point. But you're going to need a FanDuel TV subscription, a Peacock subscription, a Prime subscription, and also you might need to watch ESPN, a way to watch ESPN too. So It does not seem it's the very best for the consumer right now, but I guess it remains to be seen how things shake out, what deals they will offer, how good the broadcast experience is. But 10 national TV games. The NBC game is on a Tuesday. They play the Sixers on Tuesday, December 30th on NBC. I don't know what that's about. I guess NBC has some Tuesday night games, and December 30th against the Sixers is the Grizzlies' chance to make their NBC debut. I mean, that's a great question. Did they ever play on NBC before? I'm guessing no. They never actually got the call up for a national TV game the last time that NBC had the TV rights. Now, as far as the other teams in the West, they only play 3 times. You get, from a season ticket holder, like entertainment value standpoint or reselling your ticket standpoint, only playing the Warriors and Lakers once at home, meaning you only play those teams 3 times. It's bad, but from a competitive standpoint, maybe it's kind of good if the Warriors and Lakers end up having a better squad than the Grizzlies. You also only played the Thunder 3 times. That's good from a competitive standpoint. 2 of those games are at home, so you only have to go to Oklahoma City once. That's a benefit. That's a good part of the schedule when you're just looking at trying to win the actual games. The other teams you only play 3 times, the Clippers. They're expected to be a competitive team. And then maybe less lucky, you only get the Jazz 3 times. You only get the Suns 3 times. The Suns are a team I think we want to play all 4 times because we want to beat them 4 times because if we're lucky, we get the Suns draft pick next season. Now, there's this website that I always use, Positive Residual, that analyzes the schedule to assign it a strength of schedule and to figure out rest disadvantage games. According to Positive Residual, the Grizzlies have the 6th hardest strength of schedule. A lot of that, most of that, is because the Grizzlies are in the Western Conference and specifically are in the Southwest Division. It's a very hard division. Like the teams with a harder strength of schedule, they are all Western Conference teams. The Eastern Conference team with the hardest strength of schedule is the Nets. And it's the Nets because they don't get to play themselves 4 times. The other teams get to play the horrible Nets 4 times. And again, this is based on the expectation of how good the teams are going to be. And then it looks at the back-to-backs, the travel situations, the rest situations. The Grizzlies actually have very few rest disadvantage games. Positive Residual has the Grizzlies with only 7 rest disadvantage games, which is the 2nd fewest in the NBA. But they also only get 7 rest advantage games, which is tied for the lowest. They, I guess, have a schedule that's more spaced out than you might think. They do have 14 sets of back-to-backs. 4 of those are back-to-backs that don't require travel. There are 3 home game back-to-back situations. Great for traveling fans. You have that one the opening weekend on Friday and Saturday. There's also a Friday and Saturday back-to-back at home at the end of March. They play the Trailblazers in Portland on consecutive days. That's part of a long road trip that leads into the All-Star break. But the Grizzlies schedule, there's not a lot to nitpick with the really bad back-to-backs. Like last year, famously, remember they had to fly to Denver to play on the second night of a back-to-back where they played on national TV with a late Central Time tip the day before. I'm not saying anything quite like that. They do have to do like a hard Oklahoma City and Utah back-to-back, but that's kind of par for the course of being a team that plays in the Western Conference. The Grizzlies do travel the 3rd most miles in the NBA. Of course, that's when you're a easternmost Western Conference team. That can happen. The only other teams that will travel more are Portland and Orlando. As far as other things to kind of highlight or look through here, I would say last year the schedule was notable. They also had a lot of games very close to the start of the season, but they did not play that many elite hard teams that early in the year last season. And then, of course, you ended up playing a bunch of really good teams, and you lost almost all of them last year. This year, you play those tough teams, like I said, in November. November is quite challenging with all the good teams that you're going to be playing. And also, again, Zach Edey, I think we're expecting him not to be there for November. Hopefully, Jaren makes it back by then. The Grizzlies do have back-to-back games against the Lakers on the road. That's a little bit interesting. I'm trying to see if there's anything else worth picking out of the schedule. Of course, those teams I listed off that they only played 3 times in the Western Conference, they could have a game added for that NBA Cup week, which is the basically second week of December, where you have the knockout rounds and the consolation games for the NBA Cup. And that, I think, wraps it up. Not a ton to get into for the Grizzlies and their schedule release. I think it's fun. Now we can start making our plans. I can start scheduling some watch parties in Nashville. I can, figure out when I'm coming to Memphis to watch some games. And also we can start, checking off like how good we're going to be after that 11-game opening with 8 at home. We got to be 7-4 through there. Then comes the tough gauntlet. Can we get through November with can we go 7-9 in the month of November? Keep our head above water as we face all the contenders and we go on this road trip. I guess it's actually worth pointing out March is an interesting month for the Grizzlies. So in February, there's the long road trip that leads to the All-Star break. You come out of the All-Star break with a weird back-to-back, a home game against the Jazz. Then you play in Miami the next night. Then the Grizzlies, a week later or so, have to play 7 out of 9 games on the road. And then at the end of the month, and this is a month that features 4 back-to-backs. This is from Rob Fisher's schedule analysis that he posts on social media. Then at the end of the month, you have a 6-game homestand. So that's a very long homestand. That's March 25th through April 3rd. You play the Spurs, Rockets, Bulls, Suns, Mavericks, and Raptors all at home. And then you finish the season on the road. 3-game road trip to finish the season at the Nuggets, at the Jazz, at the Rockets. Could be some interesting games. Could be some playoff seeding games. Could be trying to figure out, if you're going to avoid the play-in or not. So the takeaways, the schedule's hard because we're in the Western Conference, but the travel actually seems like it's pretty easy relatively. Again, very few rest disadvantage games, very few of those time zone games. We were coming back from the Western Coast, having to play the East, with little rest. The Grizzlies, I guess it turned out fine for them right there. And that, I think, is all we need to get into with the schedule analysis. If you have a Peacock password, feel free to hit me up. Let's share. No, I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. No, I'm kidding. Anyways, have a great weekend. I'll talk to you soon. Go Grizz.